for the last 37 years, basketball's been my life. When September comes, you put down everything and then you're embedded in this game until April. It overtakes your whole life. You know, it's obviously meant the world to me. It's really who I am. I mean, a picture of a basketball and an equal sign and a picture of me. I mean, I think that's what it really is. Came from a great family. We have 3 siblings, 2 girls and a brother. A very athletic, very outgoing family, very loving family. My dad played at Michigan, and then he had a long coaching career here in Michigan. Well, when I was, I don't remember, 8 or 9 years old, he left coaching and he took a job in Ohio, and I had to move to Ohio, and I didn't want to do that. But we did, and I grew up there. I went to college in Ohio, and then I was able to get this job in 1984. Well, one of the things my dad always told me is that from a coaching standpoint, or from a my business standpoint, not life, but more doing my job, the 2 sayings that he always said: a mule's never won the Kentucky Derby. You know, so as great as a coach as I think I might be, or as good as if I ever get this feeling that I'm really good at something, you got to understand it's the players that win. And so I use that line quite often myself. Then the second thing he said, and I use this all the time, my players think it came from me, but there's 2 things in life that don't last: dogs that chase cars and teams that can't make free throws. My father passed away almost 20 years now. My mother's still alive. There isn't a thing that goes by in my life that their influence isn't seen every day. I was a much better football player than I was a basketball player. I grew up in a football family, but I played both in college. Now, I was a football player at Bowling Green. I was pretty good in football. I won some awards and things like that. In basketball, I probably only started 5 or 6 games my whole career. My GPA was higher than my scoring average, so I was not somebody you would consider a very good basketball player. But when push came to shove and it was time to coach, this is what I realized. I realized it never snows in a gym. And those football practices in November back in the day were cold out there. So I like that. But probably the biggest reason is when I played college football, I had a relationship with the head coach because I was a defensive back who also punted and kicked. And because as a punter and kicker, there was offensive interaction with the head coach, I did get to know him. But if I hadn't done that, there would have been very little interaction with the head coach because there's 120 players, you have your position coaches and that. And in basketball, there's 12 to 15 players. And in my whole basketball career, I had interaction with the coach. So I just felt that I wanted interaction with my players. I wanted to coach a sport where I had a hand. I'm kind of a control freak when it comes to stuff like that. So I wanted a hand on everything that was going on, and so I chose basketball. I was in the process of going to the Seattle Seahawks as a free agent in football. Something happened with my agent. He ended up going to jail, and long story. And so some things kind of fell through, and I'd been offered this graduate assistant coaching job at the University of Toledo. And the coach at that time, Coach Nichols, who I owe my whole coaching career to, told me that if I follow through and go out and pursue the free agent with the Seahawks, that that he would have to replace me. And so, as I said, it's a long story, but I made the decision that I have this great opportunity to coach under one of the best coaches in the history of the game, and I decided to stay with that. I was with the University of Toledo for 6 years, 1 year as a graduate assistant and 5 years as a full-time assistant. My job is, written out, job description is win basketball games. That's my job. You don't win in this business, you get fired. But I've never looked at it like that. My job is about the kids. My job is to go into your home and ask your son to come play for me, and for the next 4 years, I'm gonna be his surrogate parent. And a lot of parents don't want that because they don't want to give up their kids, but they realize once the kid gets here, they don't have much interaction or play with them. And so they have to trust me that I'm gonna do everything that's right for them while I'm trying to do everything that's right for the team. So how am I gonna make your son be the best that he can be, become the best player, the best student, and the best person that he can be? And that's my job. And I think that's what coaching has taught me, that life is a team sport. Everything we do has got to be about the team. From a coach, practice is the pinnacle, because nobody's in the stands. You're teaching, you're making them better, you're employing them to get better. There's nobody watching, and what you teach them and how they do things, that's the moment of coaching. Because when the game comes, you got 4,000 people in here that all think I should be running this play instead of that play, and it's all about winning and the emotion of it and the passion of it. And I get lost in that sometimes. If you've ever seen me at games, I get excited. And to me, you're in the moment trying to win. You're trying to win because that's what you play the game for. In practice, there is no moment like that. This is just a 2-hour or 1-hour period where you can do your job. Early in my career, I was really passionate about winning. I was passionate about, doing things the right way. We're gonna win, and we're gonna win the right way. And as I've gotten older, I think that passion has gone away from winning, and the passion has gone away into Oakland. Oakland, it's my life. And so my passion is for this university, for Oakland to be successful. And then with that, I've grown to seeing the importance, because in my sport, you get a lot of kids that aren't brought up the way I was brought up. We started this whole thing about my childhood. 70–80% of the kids I have don't have the childhood I have. And so being able to be a surrogate parent, being able to teach some things that maybe that I learned as a youngster that they didn't learn, my passion has really gone to that. I'm more of a second chance giver now. Early days in my career, I'm not a second. You got one chance, son. If you can't do it, get out of here. And now I feel that I'm a second, maybe even a third chance giver, because I've grown up and realized that you didn't come up the way I came up. You never learned that, And so now it's my job at an older age to help you learn that, and you really have to give extra chances when you want to, if that's what you want to achieve. Get up, like come up to the high low, okay, go back door, man. The highlight of my career is that I'm still here, that I'm still chugging along, that I've still made it. That in this business, it's really difficult to stay in one place a long time, because your fan base grows up, they change, new people come in, and everybody wants more. They always want more. And I'm the third longest tenured coach in the country. The two that are ahead of me are famous Hall of Famer, household names. And then you get to number 3, who? Oh, Oakland, right? They don't know my name, it's Oakland. And so I'm just happy that I'm still here. I'm happy that when I walk in my office in the morning, I put the key in and it works. People say to me all the time, well, what was your greatest win? And who was your best player? For me, the greatest part of my career has been to be a member of the team at Oakland that has grown from this sleepy little school that nobody heard of to 20,000 vibrant, passionate students in a beautiful campus and great college life. My legacy. I hope that my players think of me as somebody that really cared about them, and that the most important thing was them as people growing up, pursuing their education feverishly and getting a degree that means something, and that they knew that whenever anything went wrong, they could come to me and I'd be there for them. Even if they were wrong, even if they were in trouble, that I would be there for them. I hope from a player standpoint, that would be my legacy. From my assistant coach's standpoint, I hope my legacy with them is that I let them coach, I let them grow and develop as coaches, and I gave them responsibility. And then from our fan base, I hope they looked at a guy that was passionate about the university, loved Oakland, and would fight you tooth and nail to make sure that Oakland's name always came out on top. I could still see myself coaching in 10 years. I kind of hope my key still works here. I mean, I'd like to coach here another 10, maybe 11 years. I think I could. Well, people say to me all the time, when you retire, when are you going to retire? What are you going to do? I have no idea what I would do. I really don't. I like to write. I'm a journalist. I have a journalism degree, and I've always looked at myself as someone that can write. I have written a novel. It never got published, but I probably, after I retire, I'll probably try and get it published. But I would think that if I didn't coach, it would something to do with writing, or what I'd really like to do maybe is coach high school football. Just coach football one time, but who's going to hire an old guy that's been a basketball coach all their life? So I really don't know what I'd do. I had a player named Keith Benson who got drafted by the Atlanta Hawks, and we won. Went 2 straight NCAA tournaments. We won 50-4 or something like that in league play over a 3-year period that he was here. And I remember when he graduated, I made the statement that I think I'd rather see my wife leave than him. And I was just kidding, but maybe not. No, just kidding. But it's hard. It's hard when you spend 4 years, especially with a great player. It's hard to see him go now. But now you want him to have success. We put Keith into the NBA, and we wanted to see him grow. And last year we lost Travis Bader, and we follow him, and we cheer and hope for him. But it's hard to lose a kid when you invest 4 or 5 years into them, and then they go. The good side of that, or the understanding side of that, is that I've done it so long it happens. And every year we've been pretty good, so every year we lose good people. As long as they've got their degree and they're ready for that world, then I've done my job.